Hi, this is Dominique DePrima, and you're watching theurbanpostworldwide.com. And why wouldn't you?
Before the 1980s, black men in college outnumbered black men behind bars by a ratio of more than 3 to 1, a study found. But after crack cocaine and gangs took over the urban inner cities in the 1980s, federal laws began to crack down on the new faces of millionaires, the black male. It is reported that there are now more than 1 million black men in jail or incarcerated. The growth in prison population is largely because of tougher state and federal sentencing imposed since the mid-1980s. These include a 1986 federal law mandating prison terms for crack cocaine offenses that were up to 8 times as long as those involving powder cocaine.
If a kid gets caught with $800 of crack, he can get 20 years in prison, first time. A kid get caught with 10 keys of powder, he's only looking at 10 years because he took it and put some baking soda on it and cooked it up. He'll get 20, and the guy with the 360 only get 10.
Welcome to Redemption Songs.
So tell us where we're at right now.
Right here, where this house sits right here is where my house used to sit before they widened the freeway out.
Okay.
When they widened the freeway out, they took my house, took my mom's house, and it's probably up under the land I grew up on is probably up under the freeway. But this is how my neighborhood used to look. Just like this, almost identical.
Okay.
Just a little changes. Used to be a tunnel right here too. That people could walk from here to the other side. People used to get mugged in there all the time, but we stopped that from happening. If we heard somebody, I was in the house, I hear somebody screaming, we come out and stop them. And one day it was so ironic that we was out here riding our dirt bikes. We was about 13 years old. Because we was kind of like a gang, but we wouldn't gangbang. You know, we dirt bike riders. But we patrolled our neighborhood, and you know, we kept it, but we didn't want, you know, stuff going on in here. So one day we ride down here, jumping over the curves, and we hear somebody screaming in the tunnel. It was my auntie. Somebody was snatching her purse. But this is where I get my name from. Because as you can see, it's not much traffic coming down the street. So it was ideal for stripping cars. So we used to strip cars right out here in the middle of the street. Take front ends off, seats out, windows out, and everything. When my mom went at home, because we could do a car in a couple hours, you know, totally strip it down. And then we would just go to the tunnel on the other side and put it on the other side of the tunnel, and they didn't know who did it. But this is how we got the name Freeway Boys, Freeway Rick.
Now who are the Freeway Boys?
A bunch of my partners that stayed in this general area that I grew up with.
Okay.
That we rode dirt bikes together. We low-rided together. We did everything together. We went to the movies together. I mean, we was like a family.
Now you just started talking about low-riding. Let's go back to the 80s to Church's Chicken.
When I first went to Church's Chicken, it was the craziest thing I ever seen. These guys with these old Chevys. One of the first guys I seen was a guy named Jake Clayton, who eventually named me Freeway Rick and named us the Freeway Boys. He had one of the cleanest 64 Chevys, him and this other guy named white boy Eric.
Okay.
When Eric's still around, Jake got killed. When I walked in there and I saw these cars, I said, I gotta have me one of those. I don't care what, if it kills me, I don't get me one of those cars.
Okay.
And from that day, I started working for getting the cars.
And what changed? When did the change come?
Well, I got involved at that time right there. I started stealing cars. From that night, I found out that a lot of the guys stole cars to make their money. So I got involved with that. And then later on, I found out that someone was even selling drugs. So I got involved with that, and it just exploded from there. You know, the first time I heard about drugs was from Superfly, the movie. I never heard about cocaine before.
Okay.
So after the Superfly really sparked my interest to want to know more. And then I started hearing a few pimps talk about it. And the Richard Pryor incident, you know, took place where he could burn himself up doing cocaine. So now I'm really interested in what's going on with it.
Now, as you were selling the drugs and you saw how it was beginning to tear up our communities here, what's going through your mind?
You start to say things like, if I don't do it, somebody else will. If they don't get it from me, they're gonna get it from somebody else. So why should I benefit off of it instead of letting somebody else benefit off of it?
What about family members? Did you have family members did you sell to family members?
For a while, and then I stopped.
Okay.
And that's when it really started to affect me, you know, because I found myself being a hypocrite.
Although you were in the hustle, you were in the game, you also loved the kids in the neighborhood, and you did a lot of things.
I love people, period. Just because a guy sells drugs don't make him a bad guy. Good people can do bad things. You know, just because you did something wrong don't define who you are. The guys who sell drugs, they're not like normal people. They have a different mentality, chance takers, trailblazers. You know, they're not like the normal thinking people. They don't want to be in the normal box. And what's happened is in the ghetto, the opportunities are so limited that the first opportunity that they see, it looks like drugs.
Rick Ross oversaw a Los Angeles-based multi-state drug operation in the early 1980s, which earned upwards of $2 million per day at its height. Freeway was sentenced to some time in jail and released in 1996. After 6 months, his former cocaine distributor, who was working for the CIA, unbeknownst to Ricky, asked him for a favor. However, it turned out to be a setup, and in 1996, Rick Ross was sentenced to life in prison for orchestrating the purchase of over 100 kilos of cocaine from an undercover federal agent. Ross's sentence was later reduced through appeals, and after a series of explosive articles by the late Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Gary Webb.
Well, Gary Webb is the reporter that came to me and told me that my case was bigger than I ever knew. I was helping him because I wanted him to help me too. You know, I wanted him to give me what he knew. You know, because basically when you go into court, it's all about what you know, on other people.
Webb wrote a series titled Dark Alliance for the San Jose Mercury News, which exposed the CIA's role in importing cocaine into the black communities to fund Sandinistas in El Salvador as part of the Iran-Contra scandal. That series turned into a best-selling book that blew the lid off of the alleged CIA complicity in the importation of cocaine into the U.S., creating the exceptionally profitable and damaging crack cocaine epidemic spread through many inner-city neighborhoods. Congressional hearings in the late 1990s found the book's facts to be true.
He made them take a real good look at my case. So I knew that once Gary did what he did, that I was going to get a good look. You know, my case was going to go in the book so everybody could see it. A lot of cases don't make the book. So if it doesn't make the books, nobody can see what the judge's rulings was and why they ruled what they ruled. But when I was in prison, I did a lot of studying. You know, I educated myself because I was not educated when I went to prison. I was illiterate. I couldn't read, couldn't write, so I was illiterate. But when I went to prison, I educated myself. You know, and right now, I think that I'm one of the smartest men walking the planet. You know, I'm willing to go up against anybody in any field just about that they want to go in.
Next time on Redemption Songs, Freeway Rick gives his opinion about the hip-hop community and rappers using his name.
I mean, it's the same way. You know, you use my property and you didn't reach out.
That's next time on Redemption Songs.